Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a very special code with me because I am taking requests. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure that you subscribe, and if you're not, welcome back and thank you so much for supporting. So today, as I mentioned earlier, is very, very special because I am taking a request. So I want to give a huge, humongous, ultra, ginormous, mega shout out to Adalace 2010 on Scratch. She came up with the super cool idea for this game, which is a coronavirus warrior game. And you guys can also get your requests taken just by commenting on the link below, because I know you guys have some amazing ideas for games, but you might not just know how to make them yet. So I'm going to help you out and show you how to make them in this tutorial, or in any tutorial following this one, or in this one specifically. I'm doing Adalace 2010's one. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm coding as always. So here we are in our basic Scratch project, and Adalace 2010 explained that she wants to have a game where there's coronavirus warriors like doctors and nurses that are getting the coronavirus germs. So let's start by getting a doctor or nurse. I think I'm gonna have to edit some of these characters so that they look like doctors or nurses, and then I'm gonna draw a little mask on them because I don't think any of these have masks. But I think this one kind of looks like they're already wearing scrubs. So let's, and they also wanted to make it so that they can level up and get new coronavirus warriors like first responders and all different types of cool people. And I thought that was a great idea. So we're gonna try and make this game for Adalace. And let's do this one just for now, and then we'll add the upgrades later. So I think most of the time scrubs are kind of matching. So let's take this and make it similar to the shade of blue on their pants. And just make it a little bit darker. And then maybe we'll make the sleeves here match. Let's ungroup those. And we'll make the sleeves match the color of the pants. And you guys can like just take whatever creative license you want with this, because this is, I mean, it's art, so it's all subject to whatever you think that it should look like. See, there we've got a mask. Let's make that a little bit. There we go, because it's always important to wear a mask, guys. That's like super duper really important. And then let's make a line so it can go around the ears. And you guys may already know this, but I am not a great artist, but you can always just start drawing by using shapes, like whatever shapes that you see in an object, just use the shapes and you can make whatever you want, and then you can just edit the shapes later to kind of blend them together to get it to what you want to be. But I really just used a square here and pinched in the ends that it would look like a mask. So this looks like a nurse. So let's shrink this down a little bit, because we want the nurse to be able to move around on the screen and have a lot of room. So it's a little bit smaller. I don't think we'll be able to do walk cycles in this thing, because otherwise it's going to take a really long time. I've tried making it so that it looks like they're walking, but we'll start by making it so that they can move around the screen. This part is really simple. All you have to do is, let's delete this. All you have to do is use, so let's go to events, and then we'll get when space clicked, but here we're gonna use let's start with the right arrow, and when it's the right arrow we want it to move to the side, and we want it to move to the right side. So if we want something to go right, then we want it to change its X position positively, so that means increase its X position, and then negatively would mean that it goes to the left. So let's set X. So let's do change Y by, oh no, not change Y. We want change X by, let's say 10, and then we'll duplicate this and then change this to left arrow, and then do -10 for this one. We might need to increase it to make it so that they move faster or slower, but let's just start with 10, and then let's duplicate this again, but instead of using X, we'll do change Y by 10 for the up arrow. That means that the Y, which is how is positioned vertically, will make it go up, and then down will make it go, and then negative will make it go down. So then we'll duplicate this and then make that negative for the down arrow. So let's change that to the down arrow. Now let's test this out. And they're moving pretty fast, so let's make this a little bit slower. So the keys are working, that's good. So let's make this like 5, and this will be -5, -5. And if you want your character to move that fast, and that is perfectly fine. Okay, cool. So now we're going to need some coronavirus germs, and then we'll do a background a little bit later. I'm sort of forgetting what a coronavirus germ looks like. Let me look it up a second. So it looks like gray with little red dots on it. So let's do gray circle. It's kind of lightish gray. And this gray circle will be able to move around the screen, and the nurse will be able to oh no, that's not right. It's got little like bobs on it, kind of. So let's make this like a red sticks. We'll probably make these lines thicker later. This is going to be a long, well, actually, this might not take that long. It's moving along very nicely. And the molecules are not very organized, so I don't think it matters if this is kind of ugly and spiky, because coronavirus is not pretty, which is why we should wear a mask, because coronavirus is real and it kills people. All right, so now let's make these lines a little bit bigger. So we'll select all of it and then unselect the circle, and then I'll make that 2. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. So let's make these a lot smaller, because they can't be a lot bigger than the nurse. That would be weird. Let's do like 40. Let's do 40%. Yeah, that's a good size. And then so I'm able to move the coronavirus, or we're able to move the doctor around. So let's make it so that they can actually like get rid of the germs, and the germs will be flying around. So let's see. So let's start by doing, so this will be similar to the catch game that we made, in the way that the coronavirus molecules will be coming at the I don't even know if they're called molecules, coronavirus germs or droplets or whatever, that will be coming at the person or just like floating around the screen. So we're probably going to also be needing to use some clones in this project, but let's just start with the basic function. So when start clicked, we want it to create a random number of, to create clones in a random number of like a random, like every random number of seconds. So we'll start by when start clicked, create, and then we'll need it to go forever because this will be kind of like a forever game. Create a clone of myself, and then we want it to wait 1 second. But to make this random, we'll do it'll make one random 1 to 10 seconds. But since we will need to be able to make this game more difficult as it progresses, then we'll also need to use a variable. So let's name this one difficulty, and then it will be random 1 to difficulty. So the difficulty, it'll probably start at 10, and then it will go down more and more, and then that will decrease the number of seconds that it has to wait. So let's say at the beginning we'll set difficulty to 10, and then wait, and then it'll have it wait random number of 1 to 10 seconds. And then we'll also later, once we actually get the game working, we'll be able to make like levels with different challenges and stuff like that. So let's go to what the clone does. Go to control and get when I start as a clone, then show, and then we'll also want the original sprite to hide. So at the beginning we'll have the original sprite hide. And something you guys should know is that clones only do what is in the when I start as a clone script. It doesn't do anything outside of the script. Anything that does not start with when I start as a clone, the clone does not do, and the original sprite does whatever is outside of it. So when I start as a clone, we want it to show. That's pretty basic. And then we'll also want it to glide to, the person. And then maybe we should change, so this, let's say it'll take 4 seconds for it to glide to the person, and we should also have it always start. We'll have it start at a random place off screen, so it could either be at the top edge, bottom edge, or side edge. And to do that, we want it to do, let's see, how do we do that? Actually, we'll just have it go either from, I think we can do it from either the right or the left. So let's go to motion and do, at the beginning, it'll go from a random spot on the right, which would mean the Y would be random negative 100 to 100, or I think it's actually 200. That's how big this screen is. So do negative 200 to positive 200, and then as the Y, and then the X is, that would be 0. Or not 0, negative 200. And to make it either come from the right or the left, we're going to have to make another variable that would be called right or left. And then we'll make, this will be set to random 1 to 2. So if right or left equals 1, then it'll start at the right. And if it's 2, then it will start at the left. So you don't have to do this. You can have it come from one side and just do this normal script. But if you want to kind of spice the game up, then you can also do this part. So to do this, we will go to if. We can just use an if else because we know that it's only going to be one of two things. So let's go to variables and then set right or left to random 1 to 2. Random 1 to 2. And then get an equals from operators. I'll also be doing a video on what operators do. They might be a little bit confusing at the beginning, but I'll show you how you can use them in real projects and what they do. So if the right or left equals 1, then it will start at the right, and then if it's not, then it'll start at the left. So let's put this. This would mean that it starts on the left, so let's put that in else and then duplicate it and then do positive 200. So see, now it can come from anywhere on either side. So move this to here, and then we'll want the glide to come after that. So it'll go to a place and then it will glide towards it. It will start gliding, and then we also want it to stop if the nurse, well, let's just name this nurse. If the nurse, let's say, shoots them with something, let's say it was hand sanitizer or something, and they have hand sanitizer, and if they shoot it with hand sanitizer, then it will go away. So we're gonna need another when I start as a clone. So when I start as a clone, wait until they are hit with something. So we're gonna need to paint another sprite. Let's make this just like a, let me make it kind of like, let's use a gradient, like a blue and white gradient as a hand sanitizer ball. And then the outline will be dark blue. Yeah, that looks like hand sanitizer. Okay, so if it is touching this, we'll name this hand sanitizer. So wait until this sprite is touching hand sanitizer, and then delete this clone. So once it's touching when it touches the hand sanitizer, it'll delete this clone. So now we need to make sure that this can shoot from the person. So let's say that the way that they shoot is when they press the space bar. So when the space bar is pressed, let's go to events and get when space key pressed, then go to so we'll always need it to come from the person. So go to nurse, and then we'll have it create a clone of myself. And then when it starts as a clone, we'll have it glide towards, so should they be able to aim, or should they, let's have your mouse pointer be where it aims. So glide to mouse pointer. And in the game, you should point your mouse pointer at the germ, and then it will glide there. So actually, let's do glide to, because I got go to. So glide 1 second to mouse pointer. And then let's see, so we'll want the original one to hide and only the clones to show, so that we don't have one that's just not doing anything. So let's get out a hide and a show. The show will go in when I start as a clone. And so once it finishes that, we'll want it to delete itself so that we don't have just a bunch of hand sanitizer balls all over the screen. And let's go to events, get a when start clicked, and then put hide below that. Okay. So let's try this out. So eventually a clone should start coming at me. And there we go. So we can shoot it at the... Oh my gosh, that's like so cool. I'm like impressing myself. That's really cool. So you can shoot the hand sanitizer balls out wherever your mouse is pointing. So whenever my mouse moves somewhere, the hand sanitizer will go exactly where my mouse was. Oh my gosh. Like actually, oh my gosh, I'm like impressing myself. That's so cool. Okay. So let's make it so that this can get harder. Wow, this is exciting. All right, let's stop this so that it doesn't keep going. So we need them to be able to like upgrade, and we want the difficulty to get harder. And we also are going to need a background. I don't know how to draw a hospital. So, what should we do for background? Let's see if they have any in the sprite library. That would be indoors. They have a bedroom, they have a refrigerator, a hallway, a party. I don't think they have any good ones. They have a neon tunnel. It doesn't look like they have any good ones. So let's, well, let's say that it's like a, let's make like a tiled hospital floor or something. I don't know. Let's just make the background blue for now or something, because we're just like the gray. But we don't want it to be gritty and just a flat background. There we go. Let's make that a little bit brighter. That looks white. Well, that's like really white. There we go. Okay. So now we have that. So let's make it so that the difficulty will go up. So we're going to start with when start clicked. Then let's say every 30 seconds we want the difficulty to go down. So we'll do this repeat until difficulty equals 3, because that would be too hard. So repeat until difficulty equals 3. To wait 30 seconds and then decrease difficulty. And to decrease difficulty, we'll go to variables and then change difficulty by -1. So now we have the difficulty changing, and then we will also need it to give upgrades. So for upgrades, what should we do for upgrades? For upgrades, they suggested that we're able to use more players, like first responders and doctors and things. So let's get ourselves a first responder. So who looks most like a first responder already? So this person was wearing black. Most first responders are wearing like black with a yellow cross on it. And they have on, I don't know what they usually have on. They would most likely, well, not most likely, definitely be wearing a mask. So let's use, well, we already have a girl, so let's use a boy. And they would probably not be wearing shorts because they're trying to be safe. So let's use him. And then we'll change their clothes to black. Let's ungroup these because this is, if you're using these, you're gonna have to ungroup them because the sleeves are connected to the arms and you don't want to change the color of the arms along with the color of the skin. And then let's make a little yellow cross so that it looks like a first responder uniform. We'll make that 5, thickness is 5, and then yellow. There we go. And then, and also guys, don't judge me. I'm not a great artist, but that's okay. And let's give them a yellow mask for some contrast. This is going really well, guys. Like, I'm pretty impressed with this. Okay, so we have our first responder, and the benefits for the first responder would be that the first responder can do, what can the first responder do? Let's say the first responder, how big is this? I'm just going to copy this entire thing into this so that they're in the exact same place. And they're the exact same size. So let's say that the first responder can actually kill the viruses faster. And we'll say that the hand sanitizer needs like 2 hits or 3 hits from the nurse and 2 from the first responder. So to make it so that the hand sanitizer can only get it has to get a certain number of hits before it deletes, then we will do, and I start as a clone. How should we do this? I don't know if we can. I don't think it's possible to actually do that because so the way that we would have to do it is set a variable for the virus's health, and the virus's health would have to be, like, say if the difficulty, or not the difficulty, if the person that they're using right now is the first responder, then it would only damage their health by 2, and if it was a nurse, then it would damage their health by 1. Then there would have to be a variable for each clone, and I don't think that Scratch duplicates the variable for each clone, so that would not work. But I think there might be another way to do it. I don't think there is, but I think that this This is like stump me. I think let's just try it and see how it works. So name that health, and then when I start as a clone, set, I think this might have worked in a project for me before, set health to, say, not 4, set it to 2, and then when space, oh, I'm in the wrong one. So let's put this in the coronavirus one. So when it starts as a clone, so everything in the hand sanitizer thing is fine so far. So wait until touching hand sanitizer and change health by -1. And at the beginning we want its so we'll do a repeat until this. So right at the beginning we want it to repeat until touching hand sanitizer to keep sensing if touching hand sanitizer, or no, repeat until, what is it? Actually, I think we're gonna need 2 different things for this. So let's do repeat until variable health equals, oh, and let's also make sure that it sets health to 2 when it first becomes a clone. So when it first becomes a clone, we'll have it set its health to 2. Then when it starts as a clone, if touching hand sanitizer, then change health by -1, and then if health is negative, and then if health is 0, then delete this clone. So let's get another if. And health 0, delete this clone. Okay. So we want it to keep checking if it's touching the hand sanitizer. So we'll use a forever loop, and the forever loop will stop if the thing is deleted. So let's also put this inside of there. So after it changes its health, then it'll check how much it is, and then we only want it to change the health by -1 if it's a nurse and -2 if it's a first responder. So we will also need to sense what costume the medical worker is using. So let's go back to the coronavirus thing, and then we'll get 2 ifs. And then we'll go to sensing, and then get if, let's scroll down, if backdrop, we need 2 equals as well. And then let's change this to nurse. If the if costume name of nurse equals, actually let's not do name, let's do number because that's easier to remember. If it's 2, then we want it to change the health by -2, and if it's 1, and if it's 1, then we'll change it by -1. So let's just duplicate this. Oh no. Put that in the if, and then we'll do this is 1, and we don't need this. So let's put that in there, and then let's test this out. But we also need to make a way that they can change into the first responder. So you will need it to check and see. So we'll say when difficulty gets to 5, then it will unlock the first responder. And we'll also need to tell our player that they can use the first responder. So let's code that now and then we'll try it out. So when start clicked, wait until difficulty equals 5. Difficulty equals 5. And then let's make a banner show up. So we'll paint a banner that says you can now use the first responder. And we'll get some text and make this white so that they can read it. So we'll say you can now use the first responder. Use the, what key should they use to change costumes? Use the, so we already have space, up, down, and right and left in use. So use the F key to switch between medical workers. And then we'll put the F in little quotes so that they can actually tell that it's easier to read that way. Okay, so let's go back to the thing. So wait until difficulty equals 5, then broadcast a message to, we'll broadcast a message called first responder unlocked. And then when I receive first responder unlocked, then show. And let's also take out a hide because we're going to need to use that in like 2 seconds. And let's go to events and then get when start clicked hide, because we want this to, we never want this to show until they actually unlock it. So once they receive first responder unlocked, it'll show, wait 5 seconds for them to read it, and then hide. So let's just duplicate this hide so we don't have to go back into looks to go get it. And there we go. So now let's make sure that that key works. So the F key. So let's get this next costume out from looks and then get when a key is clicked, and then switch that key to the letter F. So now if we click on the F key, it will switch costumes. And we have, so let's try and see if this works. So we can move this around, but we also need to make sure later that the coronavirus will actually hurt them if it gets to them, and that they can only use the F key if they've unlocked the first responder. So as you can see, they're deleting with just one hit, and you can see that so it says like the costume number is, it's taking away 2. So let's see why it's taking away 2. So So the costume number is 1 here, but it's still taking away 2. I don't know why. So if the costume number is 2, takes away 2, and if the costume number is 1, it should change the health by 1. And when it starts, it sets the health to 2. I have no idea. Let's try testing this again and see if we notice anything. It's taking away 2. And so the script says forever if touching hand sanitizer, then I think what might be happening is that it's sensing this so fast that by the time the loop gets back around, it's still touching it, so the health is just going down really quickly. So I think the way that we can fix this, I don't know if there's a way to fix it. This is very interesting. Thank you, Adalace, for giving me this challenge, because it's like actually really hard to figure out how to do this. But once I finish this, I will definitely post it so that you guys can see, even if you're watching this tutorial, you can also see you can see all of the finished code, even if it's like a little bit hard to follow, because I am also learning while I'm doing this, because I've never tried to make a game like this before, honestly. But this is actually like, this is pretty fun. So let's see, the costume number, it's sensing and it's changing really fast. So let's have it wait before it senses again. And have it wait like 0.1 seconds before it senses again and see if that changes anything. Because if it's sensing, then we'll be able to tell if it's sensing too fast is actually the problem or not. Yep, now it's working. So then I had to shoot it twice. Yeah. Yep, okay. So now that works. And then if we change to the first responder, let's see what happens. So this is what I thought was going to happen. They don't have their own individual health variables. So when one's health gets down to a certain number, the other one that's on the screen is also going to delete. Because they're all using the same thing. So there is another way that you could do this where you don't use clones, you just use other sprites. That would probably take a really, really long time. That would probably take a while to change, but there's not a way to So let's actually have it only delete if it's, we're just going to test something out. So even if the variable can't have different it can only have one variable and it won't duplicate it for each one. We can try making it so that it will only delete if it's touching the, if it'll only delete if it's actually touching the, what's it called? Oh my gosh, I forgot what it was called. It'll only delete if it's touching the hand sanitizer. So if it's not touching the hand sanitizer and it thinks it should be deleted, then it actually should not be deleted. So let's make an if for that. So if it is, let's actually do if else. So if it's, we'll check again if it's touching the hand sanitizer. And if it is touching the hand sanitizer, then yes, it should delete. But if not, then let's have the health regenerate by 1, because if it was gonna delete, if it was going to delete anyway, then we know that the health has been degenerated, and they were gonna have to shoot it again anyway. So we'll have it change the health by 1, so that will regenerate the health a little bit. So let's try that again, and we'll see what happens. So the first responder is getting them right away. And if we change to the nurse, let's see if this is still working. You have to do it twice. And the other one is not deleting. So we figured it out. So you can have multiple of them on the screen at the same time and the health will not degenerate for both of them. All right. So we have that working now, and they can now, well, we're actually gonna have to play for a while to get the first responder. So it would take about, well, the player doesn't actually know that they can have the first responder, but I'm gonna use the first responder so that it can, so that I can get to the first responder. There. And the difficulty is getting, I can see that the difficulty is increasing because, oh my gosh, what's happening? It's like getting everywhere. I think it's glitching. Because now they're not deleting. So we need to make sure that they don't get stuck here, or else this is going to happen. So to keep them from getting stuck here, we need to make sure that if it ever touches the person, then the person loses health and they can end up with a game over. So let's make a variable called player health. And then the player should not be able to see the health, so let's uncheck that. They shouldn't be able to see the health of the coronavirus. And at the beginning, we want their health to be, let's say, we want their health to be probably, let's say 3. And then at the beginning, we will set, when start click, set player health to 3. Then let's go back to the coronavirus ball, and we'll make another one clone when I start as a clone. Then forever if, and then go to sensing, and then if touching nurse, then delete this column, and change health by -1. So if touching nurse, then change health by, let's go to variables, and then change health by -1. And let's change this to player health. And then we will also need it to delete itself once it gets there. So remember, that should be inside of the if touching nurse thing. So now we have it so that it will delete itself if it gets there and take away some player health. And then we'll also need the nurse to wait until the player health equals 0 and then do a game over. So wait until, let's go to operators, get an equals, and get if the variable player health equals 0. So wait until player health equals 0. Then we want it to broadcast a message that is game over. And we'll do broadcast and wait. So it broadcasts and wait broadcasts a message, and then once everything that receives the message has completed everything in its script, then it moves on. So let's name this game over. And then once everything that receives that message is done, then we want it to stop all. So every script that is running will stop. So when everything receives game over, we will have it stop other scripts in sprite and hide. So let's go to events and actually get the beginning of this code. When I receive game over, and then let's copy this into the nurse and copy into hand sanitizer, and this one just in case. So now everything will stop, and then we will also need a backdrop that says game over. So let's duplicate this. We'll change this color to black, because that's like what a game over screen usually looks like. Then do some white text that says game over. And then we'll click the green flag to try again. Click the green flag to try again. And then at the beginning, we'll want it to change to the first backdrop automatically. So we'll do when start click, switch to backdrop 1. So let's see what happens. And, let's also make sure that the nurse can only change if the difficulty is 5 or more. Because when the difficulty is 5 or more, that means that they have actually unlocked it. So when F key is clicked, then only if, then operators will get a more than sign. That's less than. More than, then variables, and get difficulty. If difficulty equals more than, we'll say 4, because if it was 5, then it would have to be either 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. And we only want it to include 5. So if it's more than 4, then next costume. But if not, it just won't do anything. And at the beginning, we want it to start as a nurse. So when start clicked, we'll add that to the script that says when start clicked, switch costume to character 1. So it starts with the nurse. The player's health is 3. They can move around, and why did it stop? There we go. So, oh no, what happened? Oh, I forgot to make it so that they change to, oh, so this is also sensing too fast. So let's add another, wait 0.1 seconds before it changes again. So whenever something is, if you find that something is sensing too fast, then just do that. Then, oh, for before the game is over, then we want it to switch to backdrop too, because we forgot to add that. And we also need it to show at the beginning. So let's add that as well. And then since the person can shoot literally anywhere on the screen, we don't really need them to be able to move. And if they move, then you can see that the molecule will actually stop there because it's reached where the person was. And it's not going to keep following them because it's gotten to the coordinate that they were at when this sprite was created. So let's just let them come at me. So we can see my health is going down. Now I'll have one more until it goes game over. And then at the end, we will add some sound effects. So it did the game over. Everything is hidden, but it did not switch the backdrop. I don't know why. Let's also, just as a precaution, do when in the backdrop, when I receive game over, then switch backdrop to backdrop 2. And it's going to take a really long time to actually test and see when the first responder is unlocked, because it would take, since you have to get every 30 seconds the difficulty increases, then it would take 5 times 30 seconds for it to 5 times 30 seconds of me playing the game and not losing, so I couldn't just leave it on while I keep coding. 5 minutes times 30, so that would take 2.5 minutes for, that might be wrong, like 2.5 minutes, give or take, I'm just guessing, for it to actually show up and for the difficulty to change. So you know what we can do to just make sure that it works? We'll make the difficulty go faster. So let's stop this and make it change every 10 seconds so I don't have to do it for too long. And we have almost been coding this for an hour, and once we'll probably get like an hour, maybe a couple minutes, and then I will wrap it up. But we got to make sure that everything is working first. So the difficulty is now increasing really fast. There we go. Well, it should be increasing fast. So now the difficulty is probably like 9. And then later, since we don't need the person to move, and if they move, then that will trigger a glitch, then we're gonna take out those scripts that will make the person able to move around. So this is working really well so far. It's always taking 2 hits for me. It says now you can use a first responder, use the F key to switch between medical workers. And see, now it only takes 1 hit. Uh-oh, so now it looks like the game is over because I died. But that's not gonna happen in real life, and I think it's probably gonna take, like, that wasn't too long. So let's make this 20 seconds, because 30 seconds would be a slow game for anybody, honestly. And also, we don't actually know that this blue ball is hand sanitizer, so let's make it so that that each person is actually holding a bottle of hand sanitizer. So we're gonna add that in, and then later you guys can use the same things that I've done to add more characters. You can change this up a lot, honestly, and add more things to it. So let's see, they have their arm out and they should be holding a bottle of hand sanitizer. And to make a bottle of hand sanitizer, I'm just gonna make a square. Let me go into the editor of this so I can get this color so that it matches. And then we'll move this to the front, and we need a pump, and the pump should be white. I think most hand sanitizer pumps are white. And we'll put like a little white label on it so that it looks like it has a little brand. That would be so cute. Like a little white square. That looks like a hand sanitizer thing. And then let's make the pump bigger, like thicker. Make that 3 thick, and then put that behind it. So let's take this entire hand sanitizer bottle, group it, go to this character, and oops. So it's grouped. Let's copy it and then paste it. Then take their arm and stretch it out, not stretch it out, rotate it so that it is holding this as well. And then we also need it to point in the direction that the mouse is pointing in. So let's delete these arrows. And then when space key is clicked, then point in the direction that the mouse pointer is pointing so that it is pointing in the same way that the arrow is pointing. Yeah, we want it to point the same direction that the person is pointing. That the mouse pointer is pointing. So point in the direction, point towards the mouse pointer. Let's see what that looks like, because oh no, they're like turning all around in a circle. I think, oh, let's set rotation style left, right. There we go. So now it's only changing from right to left. So that makes a little bit more sense than it actually just spinning around in a circle like it's doing, like it's breakdancing. Okay, so let's just make a, oh no, did I just spam this thing? I think I broke it. Did I? Yeah, I broke it. Oh no, I think my thing just actually froze. But anyway, so that is the game. It has been 1 hour and 4 minutes. Let me stop sharing. So the game is now finished. As soon as this is posted, I will post this game on Scratch so that you guys can see it, you can play it, and you can add more to it. This is like the bare, simplest thing that you could possibly do. Adalace, I hope that this was what you had in mind. It might not be, it might be, but whatever you want to add to it, I am looking forward to seeing what your vision was. And if I did it right, I'm not sure if I did or not, but here it is. That's the game, and it will be posted. I'll put a link down in the description to where you guys can play it. And thank you so much for contributing your ideas. If you guys want to contribute your ideas, then just click the link down in the description and comment on the project. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting, and you may have noticed I am wearing some of my new merch. I also have my mug here in the background with some water because I've been talking for an hour straight. Little parched, throat's kind of hurting. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting, and I cannot wait to see your versions of this game. So follow the tutorial, and if you follow it, then just comment on my profile or on the posted project on Scratch with a link to your projects so that I can check it out. Bye!